time for Media Watch. You know what that means. James Creedon joins us. James, good to see you. Time magazine has a report on social media use.
That's right.
In Saudi Arabia, of all places. I say of all places because it is, as you say, one of the most conservative communities in the world.
Right.
You know, they've only just sent women to the Olympic Games. They're sending 2 this year for the first time ever to London. So, you know, I think to think that there is a big social media community there,
you wouldn't necessarily expect it, but it might even explain it. Actually, 400,000 Saudis on Twitter, 4 million on Facebook. That's second only to Egypt in the region. And let's take a look at it. Pictures from a report on Time magazine online talking about these very issues. Now, it was a very good report conducted by a guy called Jacob Templin, and he went to see a man called Walid Abu Al-Khair. Now, he has a meeting in his home every Tuesday for the last 4 months, because there was a similar meeting to discuss freedoms, liberties, religion, revolution in a bookshop. That was shut down. There he is with his wife, and they've decided to take on the risky business of having very open discussions about revolution and society and all of that. He promotes it online using using Twitter and Facebook, his number, his address, everything put up online. So it's risky business. Even though he's not calling for revolution, he has already been flagged by the authorities. He's had to go and appear in front of court. Now, it is obviously taking a risk. Let's take a listen to a guy called Mohammed Al-Katani. He's very present on Twitter, human rights activist in Saudi Arabia, and he explains why it is that in such a conservative society, you still have a lot of liberties online.
Can you imagine just standing in the corner to speak out to 10 people? The state immediately will round you up and you will be in dungeons or prison. But now you are speaking out to thousands. You are a sovereign state. And if you are bothered by Twitter and Facebook, go and block it. I mean, you have the authority to do so. But they will not do it because it's going to be a big embarrassment, of course.
His words that completely sum up the appeal of the social media, because you can hit so many more people.
That's right.
And of course, if you've got that many on a street corner, as Mohammed points out, you'd be arrested.
This is it. The virtual world is safer than the real world in Saudi. Now, he also explains that the liberal nature of the internet confuses some young people who think, hold on a minute, we can really say whatever we want, but they're still in a very, very conservative society. One particular blogger by the name of Hazma Kashgari learnt that to his peril, unfortunately. Back in February, he tweeted on Muhammad's birthday and said some negative things about the Prophet Muhammad. He had to flee the country. He was then extradited back from Malaysia. He's now in prison awaiting sentence. So you can't really say whatever you want in Saudi. And just very briefly, I'll show you a photo from this is from earlier this week in Bahrain, where an activist was jailed for 3 months for tweeting negative comments about the Crown Prince or the Prime Minister rather, of Bahrain. So, Bahrain, which saw a lot of activity on the streets, of course, not the case in Saudi, but a lot of stuff bubbling under the surface online.
I follow a number of people from Bahrain, and of course they tweet in Arabic, which I don't as yet master, so I'm kind of behind, but the support's there. Right. Okay, we'll now turn to the section about comeback kids.
Yes.
And we're starting off with intrigue about who will take over the reins of the UMP party here in France.
That's right. Now,
the party of Sarkozy, no
Let's take a look at this photo, right? You've got François Fillon, Jean-François Copé, 2 bigwigs in the UMP party. They're battling it out for the head of that party since Sarkozy left office. Now, Copé is the current president of the party, Fillon, former prime minister. They think they're going to get it. Sarkozy, according to today's edition of Le Figaro, would much rather it be the former foreign minister, the third man, seen as not being at the races at all, Alain Juppé.
The mayor of Bordeaux, no less.
That's right. Now, why is that? Because Alain Juppé has said himself, I see myself as the peacemaker. I'm not going to go for the presidency in 2017. I take over the party. This would allow either Fillon or Jean-François Copé to go for the presidential election in 2027 if they wanted. I don't want it.
Or the comeback kid.
Or Nicolas Sarkozy. This is one hypothesis, which I think is pretty fascinating. Could he come back in 2017? And could that be the reason why he would rather Alain Juppé take on the head of the party now, because he wouldn't use that to be a platform?
And of course, there's another comeback kid, isn't there? Silvio Berlusconi, according to the Figaro here in France today, with this picture arriving at a meeting of his deputies and senators in Rome. The thing about the picture, though, James, is you see Berlusconi's hand. But where's his face gone? What's going on here?
God knows what's happening. He could be looking out the back window of the car. We just don't know. But
I know typically there's mystery about
I
Berlusconi.
think the idea is he's coming out of the shadows back into the public life and maybe could come back as Prime Minister next year. But it is a very odd photo, I do admit. But maybe in 2017 it'll be Berlu and Sarko again.
James Creedon, poetry as ever. Thank you very much indeed. James Creedon with Media Watch. If he did not exist, they would have to invent him. That's what the French say. James, thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Stay with a short break. After that, we're back with more news, some sport and some culture for you. This is Live from Paris on France 24.